sitting here June 7th with Chicken Louise, Crocket, and Water Slide. Chicken Louise. Why the AT?
Why the AT? I have wanted to hike the AT since I was about 10. So I grew up in Cheshire, Mass, which is on the AT, and I'd see hikers coming through. And I was looking for an escape. And in them, I saw through their dingy, dirty clothes and their weariness, I saw strength and freedom that I longed for. So that was the first time that it sparked the idea of hiking the AT for me, and it just stuck with me. But I never got to it because other things in life came to me, beautiful things. Had a early marriage and early kids, and all of that is still going strong. So I never got to the AT, and now that my kids are in college, it was time
for you.
It was time for Chicken Louise to spread her wings and go.
That's
So here I am.
That's great. But you told me earlier you do trail maintenance.
I do, yeah. I live
What
in
area?
Georgia now.
What
so
area?
I live in Georgia, and I'm a member of the Georgia Appalachian Trail Club.
Okay.
So I am on the Georgia Rockers, which is the rock crew in Georgia, and we take care of the 78 miles within Georgia.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
How did you get your trail name?
Oh, that's a long story. I'll give you the short
Give
version.
me the short version.
Short version. It comes from a children's book.
Okay.
And the character in the children's book, I was a librarian. And when I left the job, I was gifted a children's book called Louise, The Adventures of a Chicken. And she is happy on her farm with her community, but she has a lust for adventure. So I was gifted this book. I brought it home. I read it to my family. And when I finished, they went, "Oh, you are Chicken Louise." So for the last 15 years, anytime I got an adventurous idea in my head, my family would be like, "There goes Chicken Louise again."
That's great.
So I thought it a fitting trail name, so I brought it with me from home.
That's cool. Now, is this your first through hike?
It is.
Oh, it is your first. Wow.
It is. Yeah. I've hiked all my life, but I just started backpacking a couple years ago, in preparation for doing this.
That's
Yeah,
phenomenal.
so
How's it been going?
It's amazing, but not Rainbow and Unicorns amazing. It's been hard. It's been challenging. There's magical moments and then there's miserable moments, and you need both.
Right.
You need both, but it's been incredible.
Right.
Yeah.
One last question.
Sure.
Give me a tip for a new through hiker.
A new through hiker.
Just one tip.
I would say take in the advice of other hikers, because every hiker has their opinion on what piece of gear is best. So take in that information and try those things, but stick to what works for you.
Okay.
Because each piece of gear is going to work different for everybody. So
Got it.
yeah.
I wish you the best on your journey.
Thank you so much. And thank you for this beautiful breakfast and invite this morning.
My pleasure. Crocket.
Hey,
How you doing?
doing well.
Where are you from?
Thank you.
Where are you
I'm a
from?
Massachusetts, not native, but been living there for most of my life.
Okay. Why the AT?
It's something I've always wanted to do. I'm an avid hiker, been hiking all my life, mostly in the White Mountains. And as you hike through the White Mountains, especially in certain seasons, you just run into through hikers. So I've always been intrigued with it. It's something my dad always wanted to do, and so he was the first one to introduce me to the idea of it. And unfortunately, he couldn't do it. So so I'm really glad to be out doing it, and it's been great. I've been enjoying mostly every minute. And the ones I don't enjoy, like Chicken Louise said, you take in, you embrace the suck, like everyone says, and you really do. That's a phrase that's so common. But then once you're out here, you have to. If you're not going to be successful.
Right. How'd you get your trail name?
Well, again, it goes back to my dad. My dad was an avid outdoorsman. His name was Dave. Growing up, he was Davy, and then he became, for his friends, Davy Crocket.
Right.
So when he did pass away about 20-some years ago, it was really unfortunate, because this is something he always wanted to do with me and my brother. And then when he couldn't, obviously, and then my daughter said, you should call yourself Crocket, because that'd be honor of Grandpa. And I thought that was fitting. And I know a lot of people think that you're supposed to earn a trail name. And I know that's, it's a mixed thing on that. But for me, that was just about perfect. So
That's great.
It's Crocket.
Yeah. Is this your first through hike?
It is.
It is.
It is, yeah.
Do you think you might have any aspirations for another hike after this one?
Good question. Probably not. My wife couldn't go. She was, the original plan was for us to go together, and then she sustained an injury that's been kind of holding her back. And it's the type that probably won't allow her to do one. So I appreciate her sacrifice to allow me to do this and support me entirely all the way through. She's been so great. And we met up just recently. Now that we're getting closer, we'll meet up more. But the next adventure I do is going to be with her, and probably all the ones forward, just because that's, I miss her terribly, and I don't think I could do another hike like this and not have her part of it.
I love it. That is fantastic. Yeah. One tip for a new hiker.
A lot of people say, well, you get out there and you just get your trail legs and you'll be fine. Your miles will start coming up. I mean, for me, I train hard over the winter, and I'm athletic. I'm an old guy, but still, I'm a runner, and I was on the treadmill pretty much every day in the winter and doing other stuff and doing shakedown hikes. I say get yourself in as good a shape as you can before you hit the trail, because you're going to have that much more advantage. You'll still get trail legs, but still, I think that's poor advice to say, oh, you'll get your trail legs. Work on that ahead of time.
So train first.
I think so.
All right, great. When do you think you're going to summit, roughly?
Ahead of what I thought, because again, I'm an old guy, right? So I was giving myself 6 months. Started March 14th, so I'm thinking February 14th. But then the miles start coming, and again, training, right? So it's helpful to help. But now it's looking like the pace is going to be maybe first, second week of August.
Cool. That's cool. Hey, I wish you the best with your journey.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that's another big part of it, because I am, somebody who spends a lot of time in the Whites and Katahdin. So I know that the weather gets everywhere from uncomfortable to dangerous to deadly once you start getting late in the season. So I know that I really wanted to get there early in August if possible.
Yeah. Well, I did Washington last year. It was 82 below, 42 above. So I know what you're saying. Right? It's amazing. And then clouds just roll in like from nowhere.
Out of nowhere, absolutely.
All right. Thanks for stopping by today.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Water slide.
Hey,
How you doing?
good. How are you doing?
I'm good. When
Thank
did
you again for breakfast.
You're welcome. When did you start?
I started on Valentine's Day, February 14th.
Okay.
And I actually started with my wife, Sarah, and my sister, Michelle. Michelle's 13 months older. All three of us with the intention of doing the through hike. Very proud of my sister and my wife, but my sister made the decision to get off in Hot Springs. She's more of a section hiker. She figured out along the way. It's very demanding, and she's not a fan of the cold. She was born in the Northeast, but she's been living in North Carolina for the last 20 years. So a February start, even an early March start, can be tough if you're not used to the cold.
Sure.
My wife and I were, avid day hikers, and we were used to hiking in cold weather. Not used to sleeping out in it, camping in it. But my sister got off in Hot Springs, and then my wife and I pushed on. And then eventually my wife just was losing weight. She was having a hard time with her getting enough calories and her energy levels, and she made the decision to get off in Damascus.
Okay.
And so then I was on my own since Damascus.
So she went from Springer to Damascus?
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. That's a lot of miles.
Yeah.
How many people
Sure
can
is.
do that? Really?
Sure is.
That's great.
So proud of her.
Living
And
out of a
she,
tent every day? Absolutely.
Yeah. That's phenomenal. Yeah. How'd you get your trail name?
I through hiked the Long Trail in Vermont back in 2021. That was my first through hike, because at that point I became very serious about a 2025 AT through hike. I knew I was going to be retired by then, and I couldn't take 6 months off of work while I was working to do that. So I found the Long Trail, and I loved the history of the Long Trail, being the oldest long distance hiking trail in the country, created before the AT. Uses white blazes. AT connects to it for 100 miles. So I took a month off of work and went up there, and it was one of the hardest things I had ever done.
Right.
That trail is difficult, and when I was successful with it, I gained the confidence
To do
to
the
try
AT.
and do this through hike.
That's great. How long did you plan this hike?
Ever since then, so a good 4 years.
Okay. So it took time.
Yeah, and I took my time in terms of buying gear, although I didn't start buying gear too early, because I know every year gear changes and there's improvements, but started dialing in what would work for me in terms of pack weight and stuff like that, because I'm not a big, strong man. I'm 5'9", 167 pounds
Sure.
when I started this hike. And for me to carry more than 30 pounds would be an issue. So I had to really dial in my equipment.
Right. One tip for a new hiker.
Yeah, I would say for me, YouTube was a great resource. Also reading the Trek and all the different, articles that are out there written by former thru hikers, current thru hikers. But YouTube, I'm more of a visual learner. So YouTube, for me, I would follow thru hikers every year. I would pick 2 or 3 that I really liked, and I would just follow them, and I would note what they were using, what was working, because most people switch out gear as they move along. And that would be my biggest tip, would be to follow some YouTube hikers. I was shocked when I started how many people I saw on trail that were just not prepared. I mean, they were carrying huge bags.
Oh, it's amazing. I've seen it.
I mean, I saw people on the second day, one individual was carrying their food bag and they were wearing a trash bag for a raincoat. And they were attempting a thru hike.
Wow.
So yeah, I was like, oh my God, with all the information that is available out there, I can't believe that they didn't know enough to have a raincoat, to have a pack that's big enough to fit their food bag, because he couldn't fit it in his food, couldn't fit it into his backpack.
Yeah. Thank you for those tips.
Yeah.
Do you feel that you're going to summit together? I'm just curious.
We don't just say.
It's hard to say.
It's hard to say, right?
It's hard to say.
A big part of it's going to, I think, hinge on things that we're going to be running into. Both Waterslide and I are from Massachusetts currently. Chicken Louise has people from
A lot of families
Massachusetts.
still up there.
So I'm anticipating, several zeros coming up for me, which I've kind of banked time for. I've been moving along in that idea to do that. So I'd love to. Honestly, these guys, I know we're not officially a Tramily.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, you are. No, you are. No, 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 no.
But
I can see it.
Ignore what he said last night. We are absolutely a Tramily.
I can see you're a Tramily. I
Yeah.
can't. Come on.
But and I would love that, and I like to see kind of set that as a possible goal.
That'd
But
be
it's
cool.
going to take a lot of moving pieces
Yeah.
for us to eventually all get to that one spot at the same time.
And I think that you should define what a Tramily is, because I think in my mind initially, when I started this hike, a Tramily was a group of hikers. It could be as small as 2 or 3 people who hike hip to hip and stay together and do everything together. And then what I've learned along the journey is that that's not a Tramily. They move at their own pace, but usually agree to meet at a spot maybe for lunch or meet at a shelter, to
At the end of the day.
to spend the end of the day. But even if that doesn't happen, it's people that you stay connected with and text and check in on. And if it's a really stormy night, you worry about them and you text them like, hey, where are you tonight?
Yeah.
Exactly.
See, I think it's
Exactly.
special down at Tramily. I don't know. That's just my view.
Yeah.
Because I've spoken with a bunch of different hikers,
Yeah.
and I've had Tramilies in here, and they basically were saying the same thing you're saying.
I would absolutely be honored to summit Katahdin with these two.
Oh,
Yeah.
for
And in
sure.
an ideal world, when we get to Massachusetts, because we all have family there that we have, that we'll be visiting, or people who want to come hike with us or visit with us or bring us things. And in my ideal world, we may separate during that point, but I'm hoping that after that we come back together.
Yeah.
Whether it be Vermont or New Hampshire, that we come back together for those last miles in order to support each other through those hard miles.
Oh, sure, sure.
And my wife is coming back on trail. Her plan is to do the 100-mile wilderness
And then
and
summit
summit
with you.
Katahdin with me,
That'd be phenomenal.
which is going to be special.
Yeah.
That'll be enjoyable, and certainly she'll be part of the Tramily if we are together doing that.
That's
So.
great. Hey, I wish.
You'll have to drink the Jägermeister.
There you go. And I wish all 3 of you the best. I really do.
Oh.
And thanks for stopping
Thank
by.
you so
Thank
much.
for your hospitality.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.